Hello. Well, I thought I'd post a film on how we made the two coracles. These are the coracles that the Kent Bodgers made in a day, and we had floating on the reservoir by evening. In fact, by afternoon. Anyway, yeah, I thought I'd post a film. It will help anyone who's thinking about making a coracle, share the experiences, what worked well, what didn't work so well, what we did perhaps behind the scenes that wasn't in the other film I popped up on this. So just to kick off, first of all, coracles are like basket boats, and the idea with them is that you can literally carry them on your back. So they're very portable and they're very manoeuvrable. And they used to be used for lots of different purposes, but such things as setting nets for fishing, fishing for salmon, catching rabbits in floods, rescuing bits of timber for burning, etc, etc. So great long history of coracles. If you want to go into quite a lot of depth, there's a very good book by James Hornell. It's called British Coracles and the Currachs of Ireland, and it was published in 1936. So if you want to get quite nerdish, you can find out an awful lot there. And there's also places like the British Coracle Society and lots of other resources online. Anyway, we did a fair bit of research before doing our coracle in a day, or should I say two coracles, and we decided to build two different types. We weren't going to put all our eggs in one basket, so we did what is probably close-ish to a River Severn type coracle. So we used chestnut larves for that one, and we did one which is sort of close-ish to Irish Boyne Currach. And that was the one with the willow rods, constructed of bent willow, etc. So I'll talk you through a little bit about the design of each and what we actually did by sort of way of preparation as well. Because to do one of these, or two of them in a day, does take a bit of planning. We had quite a bit of debate about how to style and what to do. Basically, size-wise, you want a coracle to be 3 to 4 foot wide and 4 to 6 foot long. The key thing we found in the sort of design process was the pretty well essential to have a flat base on the coracle. If you have it too sort of curved on the base, it's not stable, but if you get a nice flat level base to your coracle, it does sit in the water so much better. And we talked to quite a few people who'd built coracles, so that was, if you like, a number one key thing. In terms of the preparation, for the Boyne Currach, so the willow built coracle, really we needed the willow to wilt, i.e. we needed to harvest the willow a week or two before, and then it would make it easier to bend. So we did harvest some willow. We cut some on the day, but we did have a store of stuff we'd cut earlier. And we did that, as I say, because it just makes it easier to manipulate and bend and get the nice sharp, going for fairly sharp sort of curves with that. So that helped a lot. The other thing we did with that coracle was we had like a ground plan. So it's just a sheet of paper with the rough dimensions set out. I think we did it about 5 foot by 3 foot 6, something like that, 4 foot wide. So we had it roughly sketched out on a bit of paper, and then as we built it we were able to stick the stakes into the ground floor plan, and it just got us off to a good start basically. The one where we made with the larves of wood, so a bit like the Severn coracle, we actually split chestnut, because that's what we have in Kent, quite a lot of chestnut, and we split down larves of chestnut and we use that. And it's quite tricky to split out very thin sections of wood. We're very lucky we had David, who's a very skilled woodsman, to help us, and he does a lot of that sort of thing. And what we then did, we draw knifed down the surfaces of the chestnut to try and get nice thin pieces of wood for bending. And the idea there was to get them to like 1/4 of an inch thick, not a lot more, and like that we could steam them in the steamer and bend them quite successfully. But if we'd had very thick larves of wood, it would have made the bending, the steam bending, so much more tricky. I should say with the steam bending, we steamed them for about an hour and a half. I mean, you'd want to be steaming them probably for more than an hour. It's all a little bit sort of hit and miss, but the more you, obviously, you can't really over steam in that sort of situation. The risk is if you don't steam them enough, they won't be sort of like plastic and they won't bend. They'll just sort of crack and go bad. So it's worth giving quite a good steaming. And what we did do, because we were using quite a wide bore steam pipe, we actually double insulated our containers. All the seals, we proofed them again and basically made sure we had a very good head of steam to get the steam chamber nice and full with good hot steam. But that seemed to work quite well. The other main sort of problem area we had in advance was how we were going to proof the coracles. Traditionally they're coated in bitumen. Now bitumen is sort of tar based, and the problem with it is if we were to apply the bitumen on the same day, there'd be a risk that we'd pollute the water because it wouldn't have cured properly. And we sort of fought long and hard on this one, and in fact what we ended up doing, the chestnut lath constructed coracle, we just used a very high quality canvas which actually was waterproof without any treatment at all. So it's a very heavy duty 18-ounce horse type canvas for horse coats, etc., and that did the job very well. It was totally watertight. For the willow coracle, we decided to use calico, which is fairly waterproof when it's not under pressure, but what we did, we put a single coat of bitumen on it in advance. We didn't have time to give it a couple of coats, but we let that fully cure. So we knew both our coatings were safe to the aquatic life. That was obviously a key consideration. We should have, in retrospect, have allowed more time and put 2 or 3 coats of the aquatic friendly bitumen on the calico, because that would have been then properly waterproof. That coracle did leak quite a lot, but it wasn't such a problem that we couldn't use it. It was actually quite successful all in all, but that was definitely a learning point. So yeah, let the bitumen fully cure. It's also worth bearing in mind with the bitumen, you can get like marine grade bitumen and standard roofing bitumen. The marine grade is generally more aquatic friendly, as you can wash your brushes in water. It's acrylic based and generally seems far better, but the key thing with the bitumen, any kind of bitumen, is to let it fully cure and harden, otherwise you do have a problem there. So that was the bitumen side of things and the waterproofing, but that was quite a sort of hurdle, if you like, for us. With the willow coracle, we actually stuck the rods in the ground and then sort of bent them over. We had quite a few failures with the bending, and I think again in retrospect we could probably have managed with thinner willow, but it worked well. The gun wall we actually made by pairing thinner willow pieces to make like a basket construction for the top like 3 or 4 inches of the coracle, and that worked very well. So just using shorter, thinner lengths of willow and weaving them around the uprights. We had intended to fully weave the seat in, and if we were doing it again we would probably have drilled proper holes for the seat so it could have been going through the upright posts and then being totally enclosed. In the end we ended up sort of tying it in a bit, but it worked. Yeah, the bending over, the main challenge with the willow one was to get that base completely flat. And what we did do in the end, apart from actually replacing some of our sort of willow branches with thinner ones, we actually tied them down to the seat board as well to make sure that the base didn't bow. And that was pretty successful all in all. Seemed to work quite well. So yeah, definitely flat base, fairly key there. On the steam bent one, I think in some ways we probably made life hard for ourselves, because the steam bending, we were bending to quite a sort of upright angle, a 90-degree angle, expecting it to spring back quite a bit, and actually it didn't spring back much. We ended up as a result with a coracle with a lovely flat base, so totally successful there. But I think our walls were too steep. We should have had more gentle sort of flowing out walls to make more of a basket shape rather than a box shape, because the one with the chestnut laths, it wasn't as stable in the water. It was lovely and light, lovely and strong, nice and compact in size, with a lovely flat base, but it just wasn't stable because the sides were basically going virtually straight up. I'm exaggerating, but they were going, you know, very high sided. We should have splayed it out more to make it more open like a flower, and more sort of rounded. That would have made that one. If we'd done that, I think it would have been totally successful, that one. Lovely and strong and light. So yeah, a winner that would have been, with more splayed out sides. So yeah, quite a lot to sort of work there. I think that the easiest one without question to make quickly is the willow one. We were able to do that quicker than the steam bent one, far more sort of readily available materials, and probably if we'd used the canvas cover and used that with the willow, that would have been sort of like ace. But yeah, end of the day, the willow one was definitely more successful because it was the right shape. It was more gentle on its side walls. I think the steam bent one would have been better, and probably the winner if we'd done it with more gentle sides and lowered the seat a bit more. We had lowered the seat quite a bit, but I think we needed a lower centre of gravity for more stability. But both were successful in their own way. We had them both water worn, and we had great fun doing it all. It was a great challenge, and I think we all enjoyed it. Good bit of teamwork, and we all learned a lot about making coracles. So anyway, I hope that's of help if you're thinking of making a coracle. It's a great fun project. If you do, please make sure you're using, you know, a life jacket and you've got fairly still water, because obviously it's potentially very dangerous. So you do need to make sure you cover all the safety eventualities. We had a life guard at the ready, and also a life buoy rope as well. So behind the scenes, quite a lot more safety was there than you probably even saw on camera. But yeah, we did take care. So do bear that in mind. Anyway, hope you enjoy it if you have a go making something. Don't blame me if you think and it all goes horribly wrong. I'm only sharing my thoughts. I'm no expert on this. But yeah, good fun and a great bit of enjoyment and teamwork by everyone. Okay then, see you in the next film. Bye bye.